You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, this is interesting. I almost did a video on this the other day when it happened, and I'm talking about the altercation between Brittney Griner and Aliyah Boston. Now, I've got some theories as to, look, I think most of the WNBA players, and I understand this happened in Unrivaled, but the shoe fits because they play in the league. Most of these players actually have a lot of animosity and a lot of venom built up towards any of these players with the Indiana Fever. I think in a case like Brittney Griner, I think she's probably bitter that somebody like Aliyah Boston, who is a big, is going to make a lot more money over the next 10 years than she ever did. I think somebody like Brittney Griner is upset over the collateral and ancillary popularity that comes with being on a team with Caitlin Clark. We've literally witnessed that benefit players like Sophie Cunningham and these players. They get these smaller sponsorships, endorsements, just coming and playing for the team that is, I've talked about this before. That's the closest thing to America's team that any team in the WNBA can possibly even think about. Popularity standpoint, I think the Indiana Fever, I think they bring in we know this for a fact, they bring in a whole lot more just regular sports fans that want to watch the basketball and want to watch Caitlin Clark, and in turn want to watch players that play with her and around her. And Lord knows, we watched it last year. Aliyah Boston's game is really good when Caitlin Clark is on the court. All right, we've talked about the Stockton and Malone two-headed monster because Caitlin just feeds those passes in to Aliyah Boston and she gets rolling. Well, there was an altercation with Brittney Griner the other night, and it got ugly, real ugly. And what prompted me to make this video is Brittney Griner has now come out and made some comments. Oh, and they're nasty comments. She doesn't even hold back the fact that she doesn't like Aliyah Boston. I think it's a further indictment of this whole situation. So this is what happened the other day. Let's just watch it right here. Aliyah Boston's on the ground. There's Brittney Griner right here. This is between the Phantom and somebody. Now look at this. Brittney Griner just flat caught her right in the face with a vicious sort of open palm, clothesline kind of situation. Look, I wish Aliyah Boston was more aggressive. I will say that. I wish she was more aggressive. At some point, these gals that play with the Indiana Fever, they're going to have to, I hate to say it because I really don't condone it, but they've got to start doing a little bit better job of taking up for themselves. So we saw that dirty play, right? And a lot of people call Brittney Griner out for this, all right? So let's just come over here. Right here, this got posted over on Threads. I mean, who really goes to Threads? I mean, okay. I mean, you might as well be on Blue Sky for crying out loud. Brittney Griner is a dirty player who's jealous of Aliyah Boston. Ooh, that didn't set well. That did not set well with Brittney Griner, who answered a fan. You're so butthurt that you answered a fan back on this. Why would I be jealous of someone when I've played against legends and GOATs? She ain't got shit I want or ever want. Well, she about to have a lot more money than you. I know that. And I'm going to be very interested to see what her scoring totals look like by the end of her career because she's playing with Caitlin Clark, feeding her the rock. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And of course, you always make sure you say something like this over on the threads because it's going to be ate up with people over there that's got Brittney Griner's back. Brave, stunning, and courageously. I've always called Brittney Griner the agenda trifecta. She's checking all them boxes. All right, all of them. If there's a box that can be checked for the sake of agenda, Brittney Griner dominates it. That is assault off the hardwood. I don't know why that dude's in the league. Oh, man. Men and women's sports, question mark? Guys, there has always been a lot of fan speculation. Everybody is jealous of players on the Fever. There's a mutual dislike between the two, but only Brittney Griner has titles. The players simply don't like each other. She's getting close to retirement because she can't physically keep up speed-wise with all these young guns and the changing style of the WNBA that is going towards a more modern style, and the only thing she has left is physicality. And it's not a really look, her game now is ugly. We watched it last year, and I'm talking about Brittney Griner. She hanging on by a thread. Oh, she made her comment on threads. Just barely hanging in there. Slow, dinosaur, sloth-like on the court. And when it gets down to that, look, have you noticed a lot of these players, it seems like the physicality aspect is all they've got to their game? There's a lot of those players. Oh, well, they're getting their rebounds and they're getting their points. Yeah, for being bullies on the court. Just beating the crap out of players out there on the court. Well, that's not basketball skill. You know, that's not being smooth on the look. I grew up in a time you could watch Larry Bird come out to the court, and when you watched him come out, Larry Bird looked like he sauntered out. I'm talking about when no basketball was going on. And he looked slow. You were like, he's going to be the slowest guy on the court. And then the actual game started. And all of a sudden, Larry Bird became one of the most skilled, silkiously smooth players we ever saw. I mean, and all the while talking mad trash while he was lighting people up. Wow. The jealousy around the Indiana Fever is something that ought to be studied. You know what's funny is players like Brittney Griner want to get paid off the backs of Caitlin Clark, but they don't want to play nice. You know? They cannot get past their own pettiness, their own jealousy. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.